Let's get into this voicemail. By the way, you can always leave me a message at 510-343-3640.
Hey, Brody, it's Adam from Cleveland. I've been following this project since Fremont until now with Howard Terminal, so it's been a good long time. But if the A's get everything signed to build Howard Terminal by 2027, where are they going to play? The lease is only good through 2024, and Dave Kaval has said repeatedly that they need a place to play. They've bashed the stadium. I don't see them re-signing for another 3 years. So what's going to happen with this?
Adam, thanks for your question and for calling in from Cleveland, Ohio. First off, when we talk about the Coliseum, this is the way I remember it growing up. Obviously, the center field area, Mount Davis, is what's most dramatically different. But I have to say, we talk about the Coliseum being outdated, being a bit unusable, unfixable, and a lot of that is very true. In fact, it's quite accurate. But I think what people don't realize, the Coliseum went largely unmodified, unchanged, unimproved for the 80s, the 90s, and a lot of the 2000s. They've done so much to this facility to bring it up to legitimate MLB standards, but only in recent years, kind of only when Dave Kaval and company, changed the face and changed the experience of what an A's game is like at the Coliseum, and not just the food trucks or the treehouse or the different, plaza areas. I mean, they've done so much. They've done more to this place in the last 5, 6, 7 years than had been done, I think, in the prior 25. And if you go to A's games, that's probably something you'll agree with too. But as for the Coliseum's future, what does it do in this transitional period for the A's, moving to somewhere new? Hopefully it's Howard Terminal, and to your point, 2026 or 2027 at this point. But the Coliseum can suffice for now. I think to answer your question, that's what Dave Kaval and the A's are trying to say. Falling apart to a certain extent, yeah, not a comparable MLB experience, compared to what else is out there with the other teams in their stadiums. It's fine for now. They will get through these times. They will keep adding this and that. And a lot of things that they're adding and experimenting with, these are tests to see how seating areas at Howard Terminal could be like, or their new ballpark could be like. So they're experimenting at the Coliseum. But what I think they're trying to make very clear, the Coliseum is not forever. There's a shelf life that should have been a decade ago on this place. So they're way past that date, but they can't do this past 2025, 6, 7 without something else to go to in place. The other thing I want to comment on with the Coliseum is that it just cannot be fixed up. I keep hearing that in public comments with the city and the county. One of the main aspects, which I put here on the screen, is sea level rise. I mean, literally, if we're expecting in the next 50 to 100 years sea levels to go up with the San Francisco Bay by a couple feet, I mean, the Coliseum playing surface is already something like 21 feet below sea level. And the parking lot at the Coliseum is that what? Maybe 5 feet above sea level? Essentially, if you're worried about sea level rise, the Coliseum, untouched, unmitigated, is not a great place to be for the future. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, aren't they going to redevelop it? Yes, but they would level the Coliseum. They would probably need to raise the site with almost anything that they do there. But the Coliseum just can't be fixed up. More so than sea level rise, let me go to this. Look how much concrete that structure is made of. You can't move concrete walls. For example, the Oakland A's clubhouse, well, the old one, now they've moved into the old Raiders clubhouse, which is up a couple more stairs. Long story short, they tried to make the A's clubhouse bigger for decades, but they couldn't. Every wall that made up the four approximately of the clubhouse was a concrete wall. It was a load-bearing wall. Couldn't be moved. You can't necessarily make the concourses bigger at the Coliseum. You can't you can't sink the field even farther to add more seats and eliminate some foul ground. It's just not, it's not a house you can renovate for a lot of different reasons. So when I hear people say, oh, the easy thing to do, just fix up the Coliseum. It's not that simple. It's not even that possible. And if you've been there and you understand a little bit about like construction and logistics, you know it's not really possible. So I always kind of have a red flag that goes up in my head when I hear somebody say, oh, just fix up the Coliseum. That's the right thing to do. I mean, if you're talking about leveling the Coliseum and starting from scratch, that's different. Fixing it up as it is right now, that's not possible. There is also this to consider: two totally separate timelines that you hope intersect at the perfect point. What do I mean by that? Well, MLB seasons run from typically April through October in terms of 162 games, but you don't really know how construction ever goes. Sometimes it'll take 2 years for the project. Maybe sometimes it'll take a month shy of that. Maybe they hit a snag and it takes an extra 3 months. Number one, you definitely want this place to be ready by the start of a brand new baseball season. That's optimal, right? Opening day, new ballpark, that's usually how it's done. But what happens if, because of when the stadium started, and again, you want to get shovels in the ground ASAP, what happens if the new stadium at Howard Terminal were ready in August of 2026? You wouldn't move into the new ballpark just for the last couple months, right? That's not as splashy or as grand of an entrance, but that, hey, it might be the case. So what I'm interested in seeing here as Howard Terminal, a ballpark, becomes more of a reality than just a conversation is whenever they could start the process. Number one, how long are they expecting it to take? Number two, what delays might happen? But number three, what happens if the stadium actually gets finished way earlier than the start of the next A's baseball season? I think all of this is to also tell you that the A's should be able to continue playing at the Coliseum from now until a Howard Terminal ballpark exists. And if that's 2026 or 27, or man, I don't even want to say 2028. But if it is one of those years, I firmly believe, so long as there is something next in place, the A's can take care of doing fine at the Coliseum, maintaining it, operating there. It's not optimal. You probably want to exit there sooner than possible. But if you're concerned that time is ticking on the Coliseum and it's going to fall over in 2026, no, that's not the case. The A's will be fine there so long as they also, at the same time, figure out what's next.